Welcome to this edition of Head to Head. I'm your host, Cam McKinney, and this is episode number 402 of the podcast. And on this episode, I'm talking about James Harden being traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. There was many trades made this past week for the NBA trade deadline. The one I have the strongest feeling towards is the one involving James Harden. And before I get into him joining the Cavaliers, I want to say that I've been higher on this player more than most basketball fans. I believe he's one of the best offensive players in basketball. He doesn't miss games. And people forget that James Harden was not always predicted to become the superstar player he is, but at some point, all of the talk surrounding him has become negative. It's the same with Kevin Durant. The numbers are still there, the teams are still competitive, but they're not looked at as real threats come postseason time. So why exactly are the Cleveland Cavaliers making this move? Last season, they had the best record in the Eastern Conference, but lost in the second round of the playoffs. And I get it. The team is in a place where they think they need to make a big splash. But the thing I hate most about this move is pairing Donovan Mitchell with James Harden. Both are great statistical players. However, neither are viewed as winners. They've both been the best players on teams that disappointed in the playoffs. Moving on from Darius Garland might be the right move, but Harden being the replacement feels like the wrong one. Harden has been paired with so many other star players in the past. Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, Dwight Howard, Kawhi Leonard. I just don't believe that Harden is a pairing away from winning an NBA title. He is one of the many reasons that I no longer believe in the super team, because he's been a part of some of these super teams that have failed miserably. His stint in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid did not work out. Why is this time going to be any different? That's why I can't really take this move seriously from a basketball standpoint. I get why the Cleveland Cavaliers are doing this. This is their last hurrah. Donovan Mitchell might not be there for the long term. He's locked into a contract, but who knows if he's going to want to be on the Cavaliers for much longer. I like James Harden the same way that I like Kevin Durant, but I need these teams to stop trading for these two players. The Houston Rockets are having a very good season. I don't think it's going to pan out with them winning an NBA title. I did not agree with the move of going all in with Kevin Durant, and I don't agree with the Cavaliers making this trade for James Harden. I don't think it's worth it in the end. I think you'll have some ups. I think James Harden will probably help the Cavaliers get a higher seeding this year than what they were headed for. But do I believe that James Harden is going to be a key cog on a Cleveland Cavaliers team that's going to make the Eastern Conference Finals? Absolutely not. Because he has never proven himself to be the one final piece to a team on the cusp of winning it all. He has never been that guy. So why should I believe that now, towards the end of his career, he's going to become that guy? There is no player in basketball who should be more motivated than James Harden. He should want to prove everyone wrong. And I'll get into it. I want him to prove everyone wrong. I just don't think it's going to happen, and I don't know many basketball fans who do. And what's perplexing about the legacy of this player is he's thought of as a loser in the eyes of most basketball fans, but he's demanding these trades, and they keep happening because he wants to win. Now, I understand that this was more of a friendlier situation with the LA Clippers. It seems like both sides wanted to move on, but James Harden continues to want to get himself to a better situation. And I gotta be honest, I don't always love that, especially when you look at the failures he's had. It's like he's not being self-aware with himself that he is indeed part of the problem of what went wrong in Houston what went wrong in Brooklyn, what went wrong in Philadelphia, and so on and so forth. I feel the exact same way about Kevin Durant. Like, he won't look back at his past failures with the Brooklyn Nets and the Phoenix Suns and say, wow, I really made those situations what they were. And part of that has to do with the fact that James Harden has been given all of the control and the power throughout his career. He has made these basketball decisions. I want to play with these guys, and when it doesn't work out, he leaves real fast. And that is why he has the legacy that he has. I don't think it's insane to say that Harden should have just played out the rest of his career as a member of the Houston Rockets. I mean, those teams were competitive. That's a stable organization. He was thought of as the best player on the team. Since he's left, his reputation has largely been ruined. And not all of it is his fault. What went down in Brooklyn, I don't think is on James Harden. I think it has more to do with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But I can say all that, and then people can give me this guy's playoff numbers, and it's hard to justify James Harden being given all of these opportunities to play with these great players, and he just continues to come up short in the biggest moments. So like I've said, I'm not high on this trade at all. Yet, what I want to happen is for me to be surprised by the outcome of this trade. I actually think it would be great for the NBA if James Harden proves everyone wrong and goes on a miraculous playoff run with the Cleveland Cavaliers, possibly making the NBA Finals. I mean, that would be the absolute best story in the NBA postseason in quite a long time, because this is a player that absolutely nobody believes in come postseason time. They think he's a stat stuffer, that he's not the player that he used to be, that he's washed up. I love the NBA playoffs as much as the next guy, but there are very few surprises, and James Harden turning things around in the playoffs would be the biggest of surprises. That's what's great about sports, is that James Harden has an actual opportunity to turn his reputation around if he plays a huge role in the Cleveland Cavaliers having playoff success. I mean, if James Harden wins a title with the Cleveland Cavaliers, everyone's perception about him will change immediately. James Harden is going to make the Basketball Hall of Fame no matter what. But what really have a bigger impact is him winning the NBA Finals, because he would no longer be deemed a loser, which he is in the eyes of so many people. If you ask NBA fans who is the least likely player to ever win the NBA Finals, no doubt 95% would say the name James Harden. And as a sports fan, I always root for these kinds of players who the one thing missing from their resume is a championship. I was always rooting for Chris Paul. There's a part of me that still hopes he joins a team come this year and has a chance of winning the NBA Finals, because that's the thing that can really cement one's legacy as a player. And in the case of James Harden, he's desperate for one, because it's the one thing that could get him to be a respected figure once again. There's nothing else this guy can do to impress people. He can occasionally have 50-point games. People roll their eyes and they go, we've seen this before from James Harden. He can get a triple-double. He can score 50. He can win an MVP. He could make the All-Star game again. Nobody is going to be impressed. The only thing that James Harden can do that will get people interested is having success in the playoffs and being a reason why the Cleveland Cavaliers make it to the NBA Finals. It would be the best storyline in the NBA playoffs in a very long time. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. But what a great story it would be. I want to be proven wrong, because I, like most people, do not believe in James Harden's ability to win. I don't believe in Donovan Mitchell's ability to win. I think these are great players. I think both are destined to be Hall of Famers, but I don't think either is capable of being the best player on a team that wins the NBA Finals. And there's a real part of me that thinks that the pairing between them is going to end up being disastrous. I've said this about the head coach, Doc Rivers, that he needs to stop putting himself in these situations that have real pressure. I mean, he goes to Milwaukee, he goes to Philadelphia, these teams who think that they have a chance of winning the NBA Finals, but Doc Rivers as a head coach is no longer that type of coach who's going to get you to that barrier of winning it all anymore. And in the same vein, personally, if I were James Harden, I would have just wanted to remain with the LA Clippers, a team that was turning their season around. They had momentum. They were playing good basketball. Why not just quietly have a good season with the LA Clippers? You're playing with Kawhi Leonard, make the postseason, go on a nice little run. Now you're going to a place where there's going to be expectations and people are rooting for you to fail. Why do you keep putting yourself in these situations over and over and over again? I get that you're chasing a ring. I understand that. You should want that more than anything. I just look at this situation in Cleveland and go, I don't think this is going to work out for you. And deep down, I think you know that. The only thing James Harden can gain from this move is winning it all with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and nobody in their right minds believe that is going to happen. The Cavaliers are not better than the Detroit Pistons. They're not better than the New York Knicks, and they might not even be better than the Boston Celtics. So what are we doing here? That's why I kind of don't want to act like James Harden going to the Cavaliers is a big deal. Yet on the other hand, I can't ignore the fact that he just continues to be traded in these kinds of moves that these teams believe are going to work out. I mean, why does Cleveland think this is going to be any different? Did they not see what happened in Brooklyn, what happened in Philadelphia, and what happened with the Clippers? The Cavaliers have moved on from Darius Garland for two reasons. He was not a great fit with Donovan Mitchell, and he did not play well in the postseason. So who do you bring in as his replacement? James Harden, the active player with the most infamous playoff resume. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this isn't going to work out from a basketball standpoint. Maybe James Harden and Donovan Mitchell are going to be a good pair. I think it could work out in the regular season, but what I'm talking about is the playoffs. Is this move going to get the Cavaliers to be a second round team again? Is this a move that could get them to the Eastern Conference Finals? I don't believe that to be the case. I would love to be proven wrong because I don't want to be right about these two players. I want to see Donovan Mitchell establish himself as a superstar player who can lead the Cavaliers to the NBA Finals, and I desperately want to be proven wrong about James Harden. And the number one reason why is I think James Harden is a very entertaining guy to watch play basketball. I think he is one of the most entertaining players to watch of my lifetime. I enjoy watching James Harden play the game of basketball. I know there are many out there who disagree with that notion. I believe him to be a very smart player, and I think he's really bought into this idea that the only thing that is ever going to change how people feel about him is him winning an NBA title. And I get that, and he's not wrong. But his chase for playoff success feels just a little too desperate. Look, you've played well into your 30s. You've proven that you're still a star player. I would no longer call him a superstar. He was in his prime. He was a great player in his prime. There are some great players who never won a ring. James Harden is just really an example of how things are so different nowadays because he's involved in trade after trade on a quest to win it all. I mean, we've seen it in the past when guys at the end of their careers would join like a super team. Karl Malone joined Kobe and Shaq that one year with Gary Payton. That was all you used to see at the ends of these careers. A guy would be like, wow, I should really try to win it all now. James Harden has been doing that for a decade now, and it has not panned out. I think he needs to stop. Pick a place, end your career, have a final 3 to 4 year stretch of being a very good player, and then just move on from it. I don't ever want to hear that James Harden has been traded ever again. I feel the exact same way about Kevin Durant. I'm just done with them being involved in big deals. Because sadly, when they get traded, it no longer feels like a big deal. This is another thing I wanted to touch on this podcast. It is crazy to look back at that OKC team that had Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden and go, wow, these three guys are future Hall of Famers. All three of them won MVPs, but none of them are universally beloved and are some of the most polarizing figures in the history of basketball. You either really like these guys as players or you hate them. And I think a real interesting debate is, who do you believe has had the better career between Russell Westbrook and James Harden? Personally, I would go with James Harden. I just never loved Russell Westbrook as a basketball player. I thought the triple-double chase that he was on for a long time there was quite annoying. And I keep going back to this. I just think James Harden's style of play is more entertaining to watch on a nightly basis. Getting back to them as a trio, Durant, Westbrook, and Harden, it's so wild that all three have become journeyman type players. And this is a good point to end on. I understand why Westbrook and Harden keep joining new teams, because they've never won a ring before, and it's the one thing missing from their basketball resumes. They've won MVPs, they're going to make the Hall of Fame, but people go, you can't win if you have these guys on your team, and they want to prove those guys wrong. Why does Kevin Durant keep joining new teams? I will never understand it. I don't get what's going on. What is he trying to prove with Houston? Join a team, have some success, go away. Just join a team for 5 years and be there for a while. You won 2 NBA Finals with the Golden State Warriors. You are a winner. Stop joining new teams. I hope he stays in Houston till the end of his career. Harden is the one player from this trio who has a chance this year to change how people feel about him. Because if he goes to Cleveland and helps them even get to the NBA Finals, people will change their opinions about him. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's the most maddening thing about Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. They have become so predictable. Every time they join a new team, the same situation plays itself out. They'll have moments in the regular season where you go, wow, everything's coming together. I believe in them again. They have a real chance to win it all. And then come playoff time, crickets. And that's why what I want most from James Harden above all else is for him to do something surprising. Surprise me. Make this work in Cleveland. Play some of your best basketball. Play some of your most clutch basketball. Help the Cleveland Cavaliers find success in the playoffs. Please, I want the narrative around you to change for the first time in a long time. Mainly because I want people to take you seriously as a basketball player again. I want you to be more than just the stats. But my fear is it's too little too late. Nothing is ever going to change in the James Harden story. He's going to continue to play in the league. He's going to play a lot of games. He's going to put up some numbers. But at the the end of the day, he's most likely never going to win the NBA Finals. I really hope this is the last time in his career he's traded, but hard to believe that is the case. I mean, this is James Harden we're talking about. Thanks for listening to this edition of Head to Head. I'm Cam McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so please rate, review, and subscribe.